Hey everyone, I'm Brent Passmore.
And I'm Carrie Phillips. We are your guest hosts this evening for Higher Ed Live. It's the weekly web show for marketing and web professionals. We're glad to be joining you all tonight and hope you're ready for a great show.
Tune in to Higher Ed Live on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern and on HighEdLive.com. Join the conversation on Twitter using the Higher Ed Live hashtag. And if you want to converse with us, follow us at WeAreTeamBC.
Like I mentioned earlier, my name is Carrie Phillips, and I'm the Director of New Media at Arkansas Tech University. That's in Russellville, Arkansas. As the Director of New Media, I oversee our social media and video projects for the university.
And I am currently the Director of Web Development at the University of Central Arkansas. Web, video, social, branding, I'm the guy you need to know.
So tonight's show is very much a recap of all sorts of activity that has been happening in the natural state. 2 weeks ago, Arkansas hosted its 4th regional of the HighEdWeb Association conference in the capital city here in Little Rock. And so that's kind of what we're going to be talking about tonight, is recapping all of that and reliving that fun one more time. So let's do it.
Before we get started, let's pay a few bills here. Let's talk about our sponsors. Omni Update, the leading web content management system provider for higher education. The company's web CMS OU campus is secure and scalable with great tools and features, deployment flexibility, and an awesome user community. Omni has been great to Arkansas Regional, and our team uses OU campus every day. Your team does, at least. Thanks, Omni, for your support. And if you've read the 2013 E-Expectations report yet, check out this cool video from Omni Update showing you some key stats.
HighEd Live is also sponsored by Integral, the creators of the school app. It's a private Facebook community that's really designed to boost enrollment and retention, so make sure you check out their blog for posts on admissions marketing and student engagement, social media, and higher education. We're actually going to start tweeting that to you right now. And let's go ahead and introduce our guests while we're here. The first person we've got is the fabulous Jeff Stevens. Jeff, tell us a little bit about yourself and your work at the University of Florida.
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is, as she said, my name is Jeff Stevens. I work at the University of Florida. I've been in higher education for about 13 years now, all at the university, first with financial affairs and then with liberal arts and sciences. And now I work at UF Health, which is our academic health center. That includes some 6 colleges, a couple of hospitals, about 100 clinics spread out across the state. We have approximately around 575 websites in our little area, including one massive Drupal site and then a bunch of WordPress sites.
Woohoo, WordPress.
Yeah.
Also joining us tonight is a little lady we call Miss Lucky, Melanie Ritter. Melanie is from National Park Community College in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and she'll be joining us a little bit later.
Okay, so first off tonight, we are Team BC. We're a dynamic rock star duo, best friends. So for Brent and I, we've actually been part of Arkansas HighEdWeb since its inception several years ago. For us, we've been kind of involved in everything as terms of speaking. We've been the hospitality coordinators. We like to call that the party planners. So this year we stepped into the role as conference co-chairs, and that was really fun for us to kind of get to see a little bit different side of how things work. One of the most important parts of the conference that we knew going into it when we decided that we wanted to pursue the opportunity to be co-chairs is to get a fantastic keynote speaker. As soon as we found out that we were selected, literally the same day we reached out to the person that we knew we wanted, and thankfully she was available, and we got her in Little Rock. We had Christy McNeil as our keynote, and she serves as an online spokesperson for Southwest Airlines. This is the nation's largest airline in terms of domestic customers, And what Christy does is she handles a little bit of everything in terms of their social communications. In addition to her media relations duties for the airline, she also works as the voice behind Southwest Airlines' Twitter account, their Facebook fanfic page. She's also a moderator and a blogger on Nuts About Southwest. And on top of that, she even manages Pinterest. So she literally does all of it. Christy is somebody that we had actually heard speak previously and knew that she would have some really relevant content that would kind of appeal to everybody in our audience. And so we asked her to come and talk some about Southwest plans to embrace social media monitoring and how Southwest puts their fun-loving spin and personality into their social communications.
So Jeff, tell me, as an outsider and not having heard Christy speak before, was there anything that resonated from her in her talk?
Oh, definitely. I was really impressed with the level of attention that Christy's team gave to being involved in their customers' interactions. I admired Southwest's commitment to their customers. She discussed the fact that above all else, they work to help the customer, and that ability to do that supersedes rules and regulations that are in place. They allow the employee to have empowerment in solving people's problems, and I think that's a really great way to use social media. In my academic setting with healthcare, you've got those issues of HIPAA and FERPA that come into that, so that makes that difficult. But I really like the underlying philosophy of that, of being able to do whatever it takes to help somebody, and I think that's one of the main reasons that we do social media. So seeing how she did it really, really excited me. We've implemented a couple of things along the lines of what she was talking about. I also really liked how they had a reaction team that was ready to just jump on it when they came across negative feedback that was on there and push forward to make it a good experience for that person. I really like that ability to do that, because oftentimes in social media we get hamstrung by having a chain of command that we have to push through messages to go to answer somebody. And when someone voices their frustration there, it's better if we can jump in it and answer that question quickly rather than and as quickly as possible, rather than have to wait and let that kind of exacerbate and fester. That's a good medical term, fester.
Fester, that's nice.
Fester, very nice. I think one of the things that probably resonated with me was the crisis communication. You know, when you're in an airline, that's something that, you know, you always have to be prepared for. And so to hear her talk about how they have a plan and how they have some pre-approved commentary, I thought that that was really interesting and something that I wouldn't have necessarily, you know, it's something that you expect, but it's not something that I would have necessarily realized they had it as planned out to the depth that they did.
Yeah.
You know, at the regional, I mean, we have several stellar speakers. We had a couple of great presentations as well. We did something like this with Andrew Smick on digital kids. He had flight issues coming in, and we were able to Skype him in all the way from Canada, and so that turned out great. What else did we have?
We also brought back, she's been the conference co-chair for the past 2 years, so for the first time she was actually able to speak at HighEd Arkansas, and so that was great to have Tanya Smith presenting. She talked about the chargeback model in communications and how that's really important to make sure that your time is valued and how that can be beneficial, and so that was really good.
If you're interested in any of the presentations that we had, I mean, we had great speakers. We had Michael Feenan, Kyle James, Jay Rex from Omni Update spoke, Brian Finley, Dave Olson gave a great presentation. It was just, overall, I thought, well, I'm biased, of course, but I thought it was pretty damn fantastic.
Jeff, talk about maybe in your mind, what were your 3 standouts, and you can't count yourself.
Okay. So my three big takeaway ones. I was really blown away by Michael Feenan's presentation on slide carousels. This was an update of a presentation that he gave, I believe it was 2010 in Cincinnati. That really looked at how our homepages rely on that big giant slide carousel of lovely pictures, often girls under trees, often news items, that get very little click-through and very little return. And he came back and revisited that original presentation and found that nothing really had changed in the last 3 years in that. And
hey, Jeff.
It's disheartening.
I was just going to say, I was just going to step in and say, I reached out to Feenan on this one. And since it turned out well, I take full responsibility for the great talk that he did.
Yeah. It was a really powerful presentation. It was kind of disheartening to see that so little has changed in that area, given that we have analytics that show how little people click on those items, that we haven't been able to find a design solution that fixes that paradigm, because we have to fight between the marketing of the image of our university or our organization and unit versus what's valuable content for people. And it doesn't feel like we've quite hit that yet. And we're pushing more and more towards marketing. Sliders are getting ever larger and larger and larger, and content's getting pushed off the page. And that one really resonated a lot with me, and I hope I be able to continue that fight and carry that banner about working against that. I also was really fascinated by Andrew Smick's presentation. He looked at children both in a preschool and an elementary school age, and looked at how they interacted with technology and how that's shaping their worldview and how they interact with devices and interact with websites. It's something that, as a parent, I've kind of limited with my children. I only give them limited use of the website. Mainly they go to Pokemon, to Bulbapedia. So that's a very small subset to see how people are using the technology. So to see kids who are 6 or 7 or 8 who have iPads, who have iTouches, and how they use those for everyday interactions was really eye-opening. I also really enjoyed Brian Finley's presentation on gamification and how that works with his online learning objectives and how we can use that in higher education. Several of the projects that we're working on right now in my office, we're talking about including gamification in there, and that was a really timely thing for me to hear, to see some practical examples of how it can work and things that we might want to avoid.
Very nice, very nice. Now, no pressure or anything, but you took home the coveted Best of Conference Award.
Tough, stiff competition.
It was.
It was.
Tell everyone a little bit about your presentation, the parallels you developed, and why you think it made you the star that you are.
Oh, now see that now you're making me. You're gonna throw guru in there, and then I'm gonna feel like I gotta go sit on a radiator or something.
You're a ninja, my friend.
So the presentation I gave in Arkansas began originally as a lightning talk that I gave at the Higher Ed Regional in Florida. When I graduated from college, I graduated with a dual degree in advertising and history, and in my work on the web, I've really used that advertising degree, but I've never really used that history one. So I wanted to do something where I could pull some of that out. So for the lightning talk, I looked at the French military strategy after World War I, building the Maginot Line, which was a fortification that was built along the border with Belgium and with Germany that supposedly would have repelled the next major German assault. And that failed really miserably. And I talked about the reasons why it failed and drawing parallels to how we focus on home pages in higher education in a very similar manner, and how we need to rethink that kind of paradigm. So when I came to Arkansas, I expanded that talk to look at other events that happened during World War II, like the sinking of the Bismarck, the development of the Enigma code and the breaking of that, and a few other items. And then I related each of those to different things that happen in websites and in developing websites in higher education. As for why that resonated, I think it hit on a lot of the challenges and frustrations that we as higher education web professionals face in our job, but did it from a new perspective. And I hope that that perspective gave people a new way of possibly approaching faculty and administration and talking about those issues. Primarily, it was a presentation about communication and framing those discussions in a way that the audiences can understand and take away from. It was really similar to Amanda Costello's red stapler presentation in that was Minneapolis, wasn't it? No, it was Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
At the 2012 annual conference, where she talked about how to talk to faculty. It had that same vein about talking about communication, and I think that's one of our primary challenges.
I hadn't actually thought about that until you just said that, but I saw both of saw bits and pieces of both of those, and can definitely kind of see some of the parallels that you mentioned about some of those overarching themes in both your presentations. So I got something out of this. Awesome. Good job, team.
Now, Jeff, you made it to Arkansas 2 years in a row. Well, let's just say you made it out of Arkansas live 2 years in a row as well. But let's talk a little bit about your unique travel method and maybe some of your experiences. What I consider was one of my favorite things about the whole conference was your highway to HighEdWeb.
Oh, well, great. So yeah, my first trip to an Arkansas regional was a last-minute decision. I was just sitting at home, and I told my wife, you know, I think I want to go to Arkansas. And she said, if you can pay for it. So it was completely self-funded, and I couldn't afford a plane ticket really for that, and driving was out of the picture. So what I did was I took the megabus. Anything small, so I created a hashtag for it. I fired up Instagram and I made it an adventure. I made sure to plan routes and things to see in each of the places. One of the charms about Megabus is that there's a layover in every city that you enter, sometimes a few hours, sometimes closer to 4 or 5. But that's enough for you really to get out and see the city if you pack smartly and you can carry the stuff with you. So you get to explore the architecture, you can see some good restaurants, maybe take in a couple of live shows, hear a couple of bands. During those 3 trips, I've been lucky enough to revisit the restaurant, which was turned into a church where I got married about 15 years ago. I saw ghosts in a formal brothel in Memphis. I hope to blog about that soon, so check out my blog later. I climbed a mountain. I got through the first book of Game of Thrones, heard a lot of great bands, met a few interesting people, connected with a lot of old friends. It was quite an exciting thing. So you've got that opportunity to do that. Get out and see the cities that you're going into. If you get to a conference, pack something in where you got like half a day that you can get out and see what the city has to offer.
Jeff, you mentioned seeing bands. How's your hearing?
My hearing is finally back. War Chief was an exceptionally loud band, and the band after them was even louder, but it's back.
I'm glad you had a good time.
I think I got it.
Well, and you know, part of what makes HighEdWeb Arkansas and any conference really fantastic is the support that you get from those people that believe in the organization and believe in what you're trying to accomplish, and that was definitely the situation here in Arkansas. We had Tanya Smith serving on the committee as the sponsorship goddess, queen, extraordinaire, whatever you want to call her.
Guru,
ninja, any of those fantastic words. She was great. She rocked it. She brought in lots of fantastic national sponsors and some local sponsors. Thanks to Custom XM, they assisted with all of our printing, signage needs, so that was a huge help from them.
And we had cupcakes. Oh my God, we had cupcakes. Tanya secured a great sponsor from Sweet Love in Little Rock. So we had awesome cupcakes, some tasty Sweet Love. That's as far as I'm going with that one.
You know, and part of it is that we had, you know, some great pre-conference and post-conference events that our sponsors were gracious enough to help with. Hannon Hill and Beacon Technologies, they handled that. So Copper Grill here in Little Rock provided some wonderful food, and then afterwards we went to Stickies for all sorts of yummy goodness as well.
Omni Update stepped up again. They assisted with our name badges, our giveaways, just provided top-tier level support. We'd also like to give a shout out to M. Stoner. They're another great sponsor for us. They had great giveaways, allowed us to share, you know, what we're doing here tonight on Higher Ed Live. It was just overall, it was nice.
Don't forget New Cloud and Campus M as well. The thing about Campus M is, if you think about Arkansas, we always have had to announce the red stapler and that best of conference winner a year afterwards. And so you run the risk of, well, what if that person couldn't be there that year? Or what if they don't even remember that presentation? Or
what if the stapler gets stolen?
Exactly. What
right?
if the stapler goes amiss? You know, there are so many what ifs when you have to do that. And we were so thankful this year to have Campus M as one of our sponsors, and people were able to access that app, do their evaluations on site, and so we were able to get those out right away, and that made a huge difference, I think, in the reception and the understanding of people about what their experience was.
Site Improve also joined us in Arkansas this year, and for the guy from Site Improve that called me this morning, if you're listening, I was busy, but call me back next week sometime.
Ingenix was another sponsor, and they are actually helping Miss Lucky attend the annual conference in Buffalo this fall. Melanie Ritter, she won the registration giveaway to cover her registration, and she's actually already signed up, already registered, and ready to go to Buffalo. And she also won the opportunity to attend a free course from HighEdWeb Experts. So she is just super smart, super lucky, and she's going to learn a lot.
She went Powerball last night?
I know. There were 3 winners. I don't think anybody from Arkansas, though. I know. She should have bought a ticket.
2 out of 3 ain't bad, right?
Exactly. You know, she couldn't be here tonight, but she did realize how important the sponsors are to this, so she took a moment to tell us a little bit about her experiences and how grateful she is and how she hopes to even grow in the profession.
Hey guys, I'm Melanie, and I'm so disappointed that I can't be there live with you this evening, but I do appreciate the opportunity to express my gratitude for being a double prize award winner at HighEdWeb Arkansas. And I want to thank Carrie and all the wonderful folks at HighEdExperts.com for the opportunity to take one of their amazing courses. I have been looking over the selection, and I have to say it is going to be tough to choose. They are all so in-depth and interesting. I also want to thank the crew at HighEdWeb for the conference registration prize. We had a fabulous regional conference here in Arkansas, thanks to our dedicated and amazing crew, Brent and Tanya and Carrie and everyone who contributed. Our keynote from Southwest Airlines was so inspiring, and our sessions were top-notch. I especially enjoyed our Red Stapler Award winner, Jeff Stevens, and his presentation on World War II and web strategy. But I have to say that Andrew Smick's presentation on digital kids probably impacted me the most. Because we are just not prepared for the generation coming up. I can't wait for HighEdWeb in October. I know it will be jam-packed with incredible sessions and professionals like you. I hope to see you in Buffalo.
Thanks to Melanie for sending that in. Brendan, thanks for you for doing magic behind the scenes and making this work. Since we didn't see each and every one of you who are watching, one interesting thing about Arkansas, and maybe some of you tonight, I was surprised at how many attendees had never made it to the annual conference. I went to one in Cincinnati very briefly. Became ill. 24 hours was enough, I guess. Then I made it to Milwaukee last year. It was a great conference.
Milwaukee was my first opportunity and got to go there. But the reality is, unfortunately for some folks, travel costs, budget costs, the time away from the office, it doesn't make it possible for everyone to attend. And I think for Arkansas, there were probably 25, maybe even 30 folks in that room that had never been to the national conference before.
The scholarship is really important to help make it possible to go. But I think what's nice about all the regionals throughout the country is that everyone gets a chance to experience what it's like to be sort of a small, scaled-down version of HighEdWeb. If you don't have the time and resources to attend the annual conference, the regionals are a great opportunity to get some professional opportunities, some development, and have a little travel fun.
Absolutely. And for Arkansas, every year that we've done it, we've been able to give away this scholarship thanks to a generous sponsor out there. And so for us, that is literally 4 people that we've been able to help be able to go to that national conference. And then maybe, it's been one of those things that once they've been able to go and had the opportunity, they've been able to do some education on their side about how valuable that experience is and to make that a priority at their own institutions. So before we kind of start winding things down, Jeff, what if you had to say was the standout moment for you? What would it be? And you only get one.
I only get one? I wrote down 2. But
fine.
Okay.
Fine. Just
no.
I was going to say Feenan's presentation because it got my gears thinking and it was professional, but those cupcakes were the bomb. So I don't know. I'm like back and forth on that.
I think for me, I would definitely say getting to see the process start to finish. I'd been on the committee before 3 previous years, but never been a co-chair before. I'd helped other conferences as well, and when you're in a specific role as party planner or speaker, you only get to see that aspect of what you're doing. And so to kind of see the overall process and how it works, I think I probably learned a lot. I'm hopefully a little bit more organized as well and can take some of those experiences back to my day-to-day job. If I ever get the opportunity to do something like this in the future, it'd definitely be fun as well.
I think for me, it was the opportunity to, I'm all about networking at a conference. I think that's one of the most important things you can do. Yes, it's important, the presentations and we present. It's a great thing to do, but I really love networking and meeting people one-on-one, and just kind of getting to know people a little more, a little more in depth than usual. As C said, the fact that we were kind of behind the scenes and had more of a role in that, I think that worked out great for me personally. I don't want to say I'm ADD because I'm sitting next to the ADD queen, but what I liked about my role this year was the ability to hop back and forth from many different things, from a speaking situation, listening to what was going on there, planning for the next event coming up, and just constantly staying busy for 2 days. It was great.
Did you have that major at the end when you're done? It's like, okay,
now
what?
Right?
Exactly. Jeff, do you experience this?
I had that. I was the host for the Florida conference, and after it was done, it was kind of like, okay. And it took me about a week or so to get back into my actual job. It was an interesting kind of switch in dynamic. I kept thinking, there's something else I should be doing. There's like an invoice I should be filling out, or something I should be scheduling. I don't know what.
Right.
Actually, it turned out there were a couple things, but that's a different story. I did kind of want to follow back on what you guys were saying a few minutes ago about going to the annual conference. It was actually kind of shocking when I was listening to you talk about that. It was like, well, I guess I realized I've been now 3 times in a row, which is actually kind of surprising for me, and I'm 89% sure I'll be there in Buffalo too. So that'd
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. That's right. And that first year was really something different, because I was in a college that really didn't have any professional development money at all, and I won a scholarship from one of the vendors to go that year, from Corinne Jolie. I still didn't have professional development money to go. But people from this organization came together and helped me crowdsource the money to be able to come to the conference. And that kind of giving and generosity I've seen time and time again from members of this group. They're willing to share their time and their effort and their resources with other people to help them do their jobs, and they're passionate about making the web presence in higher education better for everybody and elevating the profession. And that's something really amazing to see and be a part of. I've watched people who've gone to that national conference that come back and they're right away ready to go and do a regional and to be involved and to give presentations, and that's something really amazing and special to see. And so I urge everybody, if they've got an opportunity to do that, come out and be a part of it, find a way to do it. Whether you go to the national, whether you find a way to do a regional in your area, find a group of people. If you've got a large enough group that is reasonable driving distance, it's something you can pull together fairly easily with the help of the national organization behind your back. So go out and do good things.
Right, and to that effect, we always talk about the fact that when you're coming back from a conference, you always are on sort of that conference high. And make sure, you've heard me talk about this before, make sure you apply the 2-2-1 rule. That's
2 things that you can do right away, super, super easy to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
2 things that are sort of
those kind of mid-level type things that you can do pretty quickly. It may take some emails, it may take a little bit of structure, but something that you can come up with in the next 3 to 6 months that you can get knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
And then that one big picture, long-term idea that's going to take herding cats and tasing cats, and not that I recommend that, but that idea. That one big monster thing that you would like to accomplish within a year or 2.
Yeah.
And sort of task those out and sort of pace yourself, because you can't do it all within the first couple of weeks after a conference.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, anything else you would like to
add? I've got those. I've got my big thing, my big windmill to tilt at for the next year.
Ooh.
Thanks to the conference.
Nice.
Are you going to give us a sneak peek? Tell us.
Maybe.
Maybe.
We've got a big major project that we're working on right now. I hope to unveil the secrets behind it.
Ooh, very nice.
Sometime early next year would be my guess.
That sounds like it might involve ghosts.
Ooh, yes. But no brothel. No brothel.
Yes, no doubt. All right, well, that wraps up our time tonight. Thanks for joining us, and thank you again, everyone who helped out and make Arkansas HighEdWeb Regional a great success.
Absolutely. You know, that Arkansas wrapped up kind of the regional circuit for this year, but there are already some great regionals that are going to be happening next year. So, you know, make sure that you are on the website and that you're following along to know when and where those are going to take place, because there are going to be some other great professional development opportunities. So it's something that you're not going to want to miss out on. And then for right here in this online world, make sure you join back next Thursday.
That's when Elena Riley, I always say that wrong, is going to take a look at students, or what students want from their college's social media chat.
Have a great night, y'all.
See ya.
Good night.